In Eleanor Roosevelt's article, Good Citizenship, the Purpose of Education, Roosevelt claimed that educators should work harder to ensure that students become good citizens. While some of her ideas from 1930 still remain true today, others have become outdated with time, specifically those including class subjects and the importance of teachers. First off, teachers have less influence on children today than they did in 1930. According to the National Center for Education Statistics, the student-teacher ratio today is 16-1. However, in 1930, the student-teacher ratio was 31-1. This means that in 1930, students had less teachers than they do today. As a result, the teachers had more influence on them. However, today, students have many teachers, so the teachers will say like contrasting opinions, and the student will not really take any of them personally just because they hear so many personal opinions each day. In addition, with the invention of the internet and stuff, students rely on other resources besides their teachers for information and opinions. Eleanor Roosevelt also proposed that schools should do more than just teach facts. Today, schools do that. Like, there are AP classes and CCP classes, and anybody who takes those know that it's more than just basic information. You learn the thought process and the entire history, not just like basic information. So, as a result, students become better citizens because they understand history concepts rather than just the memorization of it, and they can use that throughout the world, like in politics and stuff. In addition, Eleanor Roosevelt claimed that teachers earn no respect compared to other professions. However, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics reported that the average salary was $38,000 as of 2014. However, teachers' average annual salary was around $58,000. So this shows how teachers make more money than the average job, which shows how they have more respect for them. However, teachers still should not have as much respect as other professions. For example, like in 8th grade, anyone who was in honors English class, we had to write a literary analysis essay, and we never finished it. And then last year, for history, everyone had to buy 4 books that we never once read. So if teaching is as important as, like, say, the CEO of a company, then teachers would make sure to finish everything they start. However, since they're not, it shows that
However, Jack says that teachers don't have as much of an impact today as they did in the 1930s. Students spend a ton of time at school. Most of the time, students spend a lot more time at school than they do at home with their parents. Therefore, teachers would have more of an impact on the students rather than the students' parents on the students themselves. Jack also stated that college classes do not state as much information as high school classes, when really, college classes give more information in less time. Although college classes teach the student more important life skills, they still impact the student with a lot of information that they need for the rest of their lives. Jack states that teachers have too much time off. But however, don't teachers need summers off in order to plan for the next school year? Teachers need to have some time off to structure lesson plans and write tests. Although teachers do have summers off and other jobs do not, teachers do work year-round, preparing for the following school year. In order to make the best environments for their students, they need to have leisure time in order to do what is best for the students. They need to grade tests and homework during the school year. Therefore, teachers do a ton of work during the school year. So they deserve and require time off to impact and teach their students over the summer.
Eleanor Roosevelt, inside of her article, mentions how mathematics is actually the solution to humanities. Instead, she's actually wrong in this endeavor. Because as mentioned by Dr. Susie Deline, that when you have a mathematics-based program, it actually leads to self-containment in classrooms. What this means is that when you have these mathematics, you have students problem solving, but by themselves. They're not actually cooperating with other people, and this does not lead to the humanity-based program that Eleanor Roosevelt is actually arguing for. actually, according to the Consumer Research Center, is that whenever you have these self-contained programs, they lead to a pursuance of numbers rather than humanities and cooperation. It leads to a materialism-based ideal where they're actually not cooperating with each other and actually solving problems together. Instead, they're contained and keep solving problems by themselves. So when you look at humanities and what Eleanor Roosevelt actually wants to solve, she cannot do this through mathematics. Instead, art programs and a balance between the two is the proper way to do this. Because as the article later mentions, is that when you have these art programs and these mathematic-based programs balanced, you're actually going to have both the problem solving that is taught in mathematics, but the problem solving and cooperation that's taught through the art study programs. So instead, Eleanor Roosevelt, while we can agree that mathematic programs are a good endeavor and should be endorsed inside schools, they are not the only solution and should not be prioritized over the art-based programs that can also lead to the same endeavor.
Contrary to Kenny's belief, I believe that math actually benefits children in more ways than we could actually see. Math, in the general math figure, are the problem solving that you have to go through to get to the end goal of a math problem can actually be applied to many daily interactions with people, whether it be someone who's overly nice or overly grouchy. Math uses multiple different ways to lead to a similar conclusion. The Mathnasium of Wilmington by L.I. Weil states that the logic of order in a math problem can be perfectly chosen to lead to a conclusion, which is exactly what we use in every single day situations, which greatly benefit us in many ways. Conclusion, although math doesn't explicitly state solutions to problems or solutions to problems that we've had in history, as does U.S. history does, or any history class, it does provide a logical order to problems that we could use to solve everyday life problems.
Although some might say that mathematics actually leads to more problem solving inside the world, which Logan mentioned, actually, this is completely false. Because when I look at what I said when I first mentioned it, is that we should have a balance of between the two. What Eleanor Roosevelt is arguing for is a prioritization of one program over another. And as the article by the Association for Consumer Research mentioned, is that when you have these prioritizations, you're not getting the benefits of the other. When you balance them, you're getting the benefits of one and the benefits of the other. So Logan, when you make this argument for prioritization, you miss the point of what both programs do, and you don't reap the benefits from both of them.